Potomac approach, Archer 41209er at Manassas, ready for squawk and departure frequency for departure to the west.
41209er, squawk 5356. Contact Potomac approach on 128.52.
5356, 12852, 41209.
Very good.
Alright, and that's it.
Ready?
Yep.
Alright. Get hold short of the runway. Make sure that no one's coming on final and no one's on the runway before you line up, and then announce yourself that you're taking off 3-4 left at Alpha. If everything is clear. Oh, little Black Hawk, look at that. That's pretty cool. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, announce yourself. If there's no one on 3-4 left and you don't see, do you see anyone on final?
I don't think so.
I don't. And no one announced themselves, so you want to listen to the radio continuously throughout.
So it'll be Manassas traffic, November 41209, taking off 3-4 left?
To the west.
Okay. Manassas traffic, Archer 41209er, taking off via 3-4 left to the west.
There you go, let's go. So you verify 3-4 left at Alpha, you want to get the correct runway. You would be surprised how easy it is to confuse where you are. So you always want to verify which runway you're about to take. Final is clear.
Turning right downwind.
Line up with the center line. Once you're lined up with the center line, no more brakes. Your heels will be on the ground. You'll apply gently full throttle, about 3 seconds from idle to full. A little bit of right rudder, not too much, just enough to keep the center line. Check your power setting, right rudder a little bit more, there you go. Keep your hand on the throttle. Don't hover it, just really keep on it, there you go. Then 60 knots, you're gonna pull back gently.
Rotating.
There you go, gently pull back. Hoppa, here we go. Alright. Pitch up. Pitch for airspeed. Start climbing.
What is the best climb speed, I guess?
It is 74 in this airplane, if I'm correct. Try not to drift to 3-4 right, because there are other airplanes over there.
Yeah.
Alright, go a bit to the left, you're drifting to the right. You remember the road I told you about?
Yep, this one right here.
It is.
Manassas traffic at 11 is a UA-60 departing the right downwind to the south. Manassas traffic.
I'm going to take over the radios, but I would say Manassas traffic, 41209. Left crosswind, departure to the west, Manassas traffic.
Okay.
You want to do it?
So it's Manassas traffic, Archer 41209, left.
Left crosswind, departure to the west.
Manassas traffic, Archer 41209, left departure to the west.
Alright, left crosswind departure, but we're alright. It's on control, that's why it's fine. We can do mistakes.
Traffic, experimental.
It's 15, right? 1500?
Yeah.
Runway 34.
Now we have to contact Potomac. So you'd say Potomac approach, November 41209er, off of Manassas with you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
With you?
Or you can say just Potomac approach, 41209 off of Manassas. You don't have to say with you.
Potomac approach, Archer 41209, off base from Manassas.
Archer 41209, Potomac approach, transponder observed, proceed on course, remain outside of class Bravo.
You repeat what you said, proceed on course.
Proceed on course, remain outside of class Bravo, 41209.
Dash 203, helicopter,
And
11
now,
o'clock and 2
just have
miles
to listen to the radio.
1,200.
And look for your call sign if someone's going to call, but that's about it.
On course outside of Bravo.
So,
3 Yankees.
look outside.
Dash 203, helicopter, no factor.
And right now I can tell you that the nose is a little bit too high.
Yeah.
We are climbing slightly. That's because you need to get the picture of about between 1 and 2 fingers between the horizon and your dashboard if you pit your fingers on the dashboard. Depends on how high you sit. I'm a short guy, so
You said,
1 or 2 fingers will allow you to be straight and level. But right now we're climbing because the pitch is too high. That's a straight and level pitch attitude.
right here is?
Yep. Alright, so if you see on your left, you should see an airport. And remember we talked about it on the ground with the map? That's Warrenton, and the lake is right below us. It's here. You can't see it because it's on that side, on the lower side, on my side. But the lake is there.
Okay.
And if you were alone, you were looking for the lake, you would just lower your nose a little bit to look for it. But for now, keep climbing, and we are going to fly away from all this traffic. Alright, very good. So for slow flights, there's really It's like the golden phrase, I would say it. Because you're behind the power curve, or you're on the backside of the power curve, the plane reacts differently to the inputs you give to it. So in slow flight, when you want to climb or descend, you use your power. And when you want to control your airspeed, you use your pitch. Therefore, power is altitude, and pitch is airspeed. Very good. So make sure you're steering level. You're a little bit on a climb attitude right now. And we're going to go into slow flight.
Okay.
What are two main things we have to do before every maneuver?
Clearing turns.
All right. And?
That was, I don't know, the second one.
A pre-maneuver checklist. Make sure you have fuel into the engine, your fuel pump is on, you're lit up like a Christmas tree with lights so everybody can see you. You check your engine indications, and that's what it is. Okay? So give us a little clearing turn to wherever you want. It has to be 90 degrees to either side, and then another 90-degree turn. Right? So if you do a 90 degrees to the left, you're gonna have to come back 90 degrees to the right. That will be our clearing time. We're looking for traffic, we're looking for airplanes, we're looking for anything that we don't want to hit. Okay?
Northern traffic, taxi 0420, departing runway 32 to the north and west.
Alright, what's your altitude? Look outside. Very good.
Culpeper traffic, Scavengers 110, you're taking runway 22.
What airport is this right below us?
That is Culpeper. That's the second airport we saw on the chart. And you see the radomes are further away.
Yeah. And didn't someone just call in Culpeper?
Yeah, they're probably in the traffic pattern.
And that'll be like below us, right?
That will be 1,000 feet above the field elevation, which is 1,300 feet. We're at 4,500, so we are way above even their area. We're just listening to them because we're practicing around their airspace.
Yeah.
If you want. It's not really their airspace, but we're practicing around the airport, and that has to do for emergency procedures in case something goes wrong. We can always make it back to the airport.
Okay.
Or a paved runway instead of a field. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but I'd rather be close to something I can kind of glide to. Alright? It doesn't always happen, but... Okay, so to get into slow flight, we did our clearing turns. Pre-maneuver checklist would be lights, fuel pump, mixture full rich. Make sure the instruments are looking good. How is the old pressure and temperature over there? They're good?
Yep.
Alright. Now, the goal is to always look outside, pick a reference point far ahead. And right now, it's so hazy that the base reference point is basically the mountain.
Okay.
Okay? It's like when you're driving. You pick a really far reference point when you're on the highway. You don't pick the little mile marker in front of you, right? So to go into slow flight, it goes as follows. You want to slow down the plane first.
Pitch.
But you're going to have to reduce the amount of power. So you're going to reduce to 1,500 RPM. And you're going to trade airspeed for altitude. That means you're going to pitch up to maintain your altitude gently. And you're going to bleed off airspeed. Below 100 knots, you're going to extend 1 notch of flaps.
This negative, we're going to do a 360.
Below 90 knots, 2 notches of flaps. And below 80 knots, 3 notches of flaps.
We don't have you inside.
Very good. Now we started the maneuver a little bit slow.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit slower, but once you got to the speed you want, you're going to add power as needed to maintain your altitude.
To maintain the altitude?
Yeah, because we're in slow flight now. Power is altitude, pitch is airspeed.
Okay.
And see how we're descending.
Yeah.
So if you add power to about 2,000 RPM, that will allow us to maintain our altitude. You're going to trim the plane to maintain the airspeed you want. And the airspeed you want is the airspeed that the examiner/instructor will tell you.
Okay.
And the airspeed today would be 65 knots.
Okay.
So what is our airspeed currently?
60.
60, right? So we need to be a little bit.
A little bit faster.
So how did that?
Nose down, pitch nose down.
There you go. Very good. Long day. So you're going to pitch nose down with the yoke first, and you're just going to trim it to make sure it stays there.
Yep.
Alright? You don't want to hover your hand over the trim. Then you're going to come back on the power, and you're going to hold your altitude. Now we lost about 200 feet on getting into this.
Yeah.
That's because we were slow at the entry. Not a problem. We're going to gain back those 200 feet. How to do that? If you climb, you do power, right? The only way to climb in slow flight is full power, because you have all that drag with us, right? Let's go full power. please don't turn to the right because you've been continuously turning to the right. Alright, so you see how we're climbing, and our airspeed, if you maintain this pitch attitude, allows us to stay at around 65 knots. If you're slower, what would you do?
If I was slower, I would just put nose down.
Nose down, very good. So once we get to 4,500 feet, I want you to maintain 4,500 feet and 65 knots and trim the plane to hold that airspeed.
Okay.
And basically what we're learning right now is how to control the plane prior to landing. We're just doing it high above the ground so we have a long margin of error. Okay? And safety also. Very good. Stop turning to the right. And how would you know if you're turning or not? It's if you're looking outside.
No.
Huh?
No.
So,
I'm not looking, I swear.
what we're going to do,
No, I need that one.
we just lost our instruments, so we're going to use our instincts to know if we're descending or we're climbing. And you remember we're at 4,500 feet and 65 knots when I covered the instruments, right?
Yep.
Now what I want you to do is maintain 65 knots, but descend.
Okay.
So what would that require you to do?
Less power.
Less power, okay, let's go, less power.
Pitch.
And pitch up or down?
Pitch up to maintain the airspeed.
Pitch up when you reduce the power?
Yep.
Traffic Turkey 657.
No, that'll cause a stall probably.
I would or maintain the pitch
Yeah,
or lower
maintain
it
the pitch,
slightly because you have less power. Less power, okay? You need about 1,500 RPM to start descending. We're not descending currently.
Okay.
And put that on so you don't even know what's happening because you're going to have to look outside. Alright, are we turning?
A little bit to the right.
No, we're pretty level. Look at the horizon. Alright? If the horizon was over here, see this? How we're turning left now?
Yeah.
That's because the wings are not level. You can see it just with the horizon.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if you bring them level, you can see it. What do you think? Are we at 65 knots?
I think we're getting a little fast.
Look at that, right on speed, right? If you feel the plane, you don't need these instruments in VFR. What about the altitude? Did we descend at all?
I don't think very much.
Give me a guess. How much you think? 100, 200, 300?
Maybe 100 feet. Oh, wow.
Pretty close, 200
200.
feet. Alright? So, in slow flight, you're not going to descend very sharply, or very fast, should I say. But, so, how's the plane doing? Turning or not turning? Very good,
turning.
correction, right? And you can also feel, if you hear the air on the windshield and on the plane, you can feel if you're slowing down or not. And right now, we're probably slower than 65.
A little bit, yeah.
Alright, so how would you fix that?
Pitch down.
Pitch down, very good. So feel the plane, alright? Feel the plane. Very good. Now what I want you to do is to stop turning. That will be number one. Number two, it will be to retract the flaps one notch at a time while maintaining 65 knots.
Retract them while maintaining.
Yeah, so you're going to have to, I'm going to take these two off because you're going to have to help you out at the beginning. At 4,000, okay? I want you to level off at 4,000 feet.
Okay.
65 knots, not 60. So you're going to have to pitch down, right? For speed. And how would you maintain your altitude?
While maintaining the altitude?
Yeah. How would you
is
maintain it?
The power.
Alright, so make sure you hold 4,000. So that would be a good time to introduce the power to about 2,000, 2,100 RPM.
Okay.
Very good. Alright, and you look outside, stop turning. You have a tendency to bring the yoke to the right.
Okay.
I don't know why. Okay? Generally the tendency would bring it to the left because your hand is heavy, right? Stop turning to the right.
I feel like I'm level. I feel like
now you're level, but you were turning to the right before.
Okay.
When we started this, we were at 300. Look, we're at 320 now.
320.
Alright? So, add power, and what you're going to do is maintain the altitude. You're going to maintain 65 knots, and you're going to retract one notch of flaps.
Okay.
And that's going to teach you, it's going to show you how much a high of a pitch you will need when you don't have any flaps.
Okay.
So go ahead. You want to retract one notch, reset, so you're going to have a higher pitch, maybe more or less power to maintain the altitude and the airspeed, all the way until you're at 0 flaps.
Okay.
You ready? Let's go. Do one at a time, because if not, we are going to lose all our lift.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready. There you go. Very good. If you need to trim to change it because your configuration changed, go ahead, don't be shy, right? And you might also need to add power. It's very dynamic. All the time you have to do something. All right? All right, let's do one more notch. And you'll see that the pitch attitude would change with flaps and without flaps.
Yeah.
Let's go, one more. Very good, you failed that? All that loss of lift for a second?
Yep.
So what's happening to our airspeed right now?
We're going really, we're gaining airspeed.
All right, so to fix it, what do we do? Pitch out, keep pitching up. And the power will hold our altitude. So keep doing it, let's go. Let's go, 65 knots. Very good. And last notch of flaps, when you're ready. Very good. Once you're back at 4,000 feet and 65 knots, I'd like you to release the yoke for a second, see what happens. What's your airspeed at?
70.
Right, but if you have too much power, you're gonna start climbing. So if you're pitching up to reduce a lot of speed, you're gonna have to adjust the power so you don't climb. Right, comes together. So make sure you pitch a little bit more, you reduce the power to lose those 10 knots. And you see how much higher our pitch attitude is at? Cool. So flaps allow us to reduce our pitch attitude without getting airspeed. And they add lift and drag, add both. That allows us to slow the plane and prepare us for landing. Any question on that?
Traffic, Cherokee 657,
no. Maintain 70 knots, right? You're at 70 right now. Maintain 70. So stay where you're at.
Okay.
But just turn left 180 degrees. Let's go. Apply the other direction. Sun in your butt, sun in your butt, sun in your butt, sun in your butt. All right, once the sun is on the tail of the plane, we'll take those stickers out and see where we're at.
We started at 4,000, right?
We started at 4,000, that is correct. All right.
So I do have a question.
Sure,
it's not really necessarily about this maneuver that we're doing, but so what exactly causes like an uncoordinated turn?
An uncoordinated turn?
Or like what is going on like in the plane as if it's uncoordinated? Because like I mean I can see the ball is like to one side, but what exactly causes that?
It's called adverse yaw. It's the difference of amount of lift and drag that happens between the two ailerons when you're turning.
Okay.
Because you have one aileron that goes up, one aileron that goes down. One produces more lift than the other. Therefore, one produces more drag than the other. Therefore, one is kind of holding the plane back a little bit more than the other, right? And that creates a yawing moment. That's why when you turn, you want to add some rudder. And it's called adverse yaw. That's like the FAA book lingo. Not too bad.
100 feet.
Without knowing an altimeter and just looking outside, not too bad. Keep going straight. That's good.
Oh, okay.
Keep going straight. All right, 65 knots, please.
Scavenger 20. We're short final runway. We'll be full stop looking for on RNAV runway 4.
Any question on the slow flight? All right, we'll get better at it as we go. It's a maneuver that you work on it throughout your training. It's not like today and done. It's today, tomorrow, the next day. All the time, all the time. Even after you solo and you do cross countries, you always come back to slow flight because you use slow flight on every single landing. All right. To recover from slow flight as a maneuver, you know, full power, and maintain your altitude or gain the altitude that you've lost. Right, and you're going to retract 1 notch of flaps every 10 knots you're gaining. So 65, when you went full power, retract 1 notch of flaps so we can start accelerating. Once you're at 75 knots, retract 1. Once you're at 85 knots, retract 1 more. Right, and because you're maintaining altitude, your nose will be lowered to allow you to gain airspeed. Alright. There we go, very good, 75 knots. Try to do it, I'm trying to give you like a reference so you know it's a little bit more organized on when to do these things.
Yeah.
And last notch flaps, 85. Lower the nose for straight and level, trim the plane, and go back to cruise.
Let's go, man.
Now we're going to do something called a power off stall. It's basically the same thing as the slow flight configuration, and it's a landing stall. All right, it will simulate that we're on landing, and we think we're too far from the runway, and our instinct is to pull back. No, I don't want to follow the ground, so you're pulling back, and then, well, the only thing you're doing by that is by losing your lift. And we're going to get into the stall, private pilot needs to do a fully developed stall and then recover. Okay? So how to get into a power off stall? Same thing as slow flight. So whenever you want, you got to maintain your altitude, you got to slow down the plane, and every 10 knots you lose, you extend 1 notch of flaps. Let's go.
And so when does the first flap come? Below 100, you said?
Below 100, yeah.
Below 100 knots?
So I would generally put it at like 95 or 90.
Okay.
But you have to be below the wide arc.
Okay, below the white arc. What happens if you apply flaps above the white arc? Anything?
You can cause damage to the flaps. It's called the VFE, flap extended speed.
Okay.
It's a limitation on the airplane. Now on the first notch, it's a little bit higher than the wide arc, but to make sure that we never exceed those flap limitations, right? We always, in training, will go below wide arc, flaps 10.
Okay.
And then all the next flaps will be in the wide arc.
Okay.
So every 10 knots, right? So 90, 80, 70 generally, or 95, 85, 75, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Let's go. So you're going to trade speed for altitude, right? By pitching up, you're giving speed away to keep your altitude. Let's go. Don't wait on the flaps. It's going to come quick. Look at that, 20 knots already. Up. Next. There you go. Very good. And one more. Awesome. Well, gently. Then add power. Add power to give to slow flight, right? 2,000 RPM. 2,000 RPM. Now we're back in slow flight. Pretty simple, right? Now to simulate a power off stall, what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a descent. That we're on final approach, and we're going to lose about 100 feet. No need more than that. So lower the nose down, 65 knots, like in slow flight.
Culpeper traffic.
Lower the nose down, very good. Hand off the yoke. Pretty good trim.
Culpeper, departing to the northeast.
So lower the nose to keep 65, reduce a little bit of power to descent. Right, slow flight concepts. Right? And what we're going to do, once we lose about 100 feet, we're going to go power to idle, which is a little bit more, power to idle. And we're going to bring the nose a little bit above the horizon. So go ahead, bring the nose above the horizon with you on the control, don't worry. All right, and that's it, just hold the nose right here. Don't pitch up more than that. Just hold it here, all right? Hold it here, hold it here, hold it, hold it, hold it. That's a fully developed stall. See how you're shaking? To get out, you lower the nose, apply full power. Very good, full power all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. Bring the nose back to the horizon, retract 1 knot of flap. You look at your airspeed, as long as you're above 75, you can start climbing. Retract another notch of flaps at 80 knots. Right? And upon a positive rate of climb, when your altimeter starts going up and you're on a climbing pitch attitude, you retract all the flaps. And you keep your climbing speed of 74 knots.
Traffic, Cherokee 38657, turn in right base.
You see how much trim you have to do all the time?
Yeah.
That's why it's so important. So your friends can bother you again about it.
I got like 10 text messages.
Any question on the power off stall? Right, so I held the stall so you can feel how it feels.
Yeah.
And you really feel it's shaking, right? It's shaking the plane, you got a horn, you got a light.
The light, yeah.
And even if the horn or the light doesn't work, you can feel it aerodynamically. Okay? The next stall is called the power on stall. So what it simulates that we're taking off and that we're pitching up too much because the plane's not climbing. And the only thing you're going to do is bring the plane to the ground. So the way to do that is to slow down again, 1500 RPM, and you're trading speed for altitude, same idea. Okay? And we want to slow down to about 70 knots.
Okay.
So it doesn't take us an hour to do the power on stall, because at the end of the day, it's a maneuver. It's not really happening.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to slow down to about 70 knots. Once you're at 70, you're going to pitch up and go full power. And you're going to add a right rudder. Because if you don't add right rudder, the plane will go left because of the 4 left turning tendencies, right? Look outside, 70 knots, pitch up, full power, right rudder. Whenever you're ready. Ready? Let's go. Pitch up more. Right rudder. Very good. Keep pitching up, keep pitching up. Hold it right there. No more. Don't need more than that. And you just wait until the plane stalls. You're going to have to increase the back pressure. You see what's happening? How it's like shaking us and we're losing altitude and the ailerons don't do anything? The only way to get out of a stall, lower the nose. Okay, lower the nose below the horizon. Gain airspeed. Bring it back to the horizon once your speed is all good. Start climbing again at 74 knots or 80 knots or whatever. Positive rate of climb, lower the nose to the horizon, back to cruise. Pretty simple. Alright? And you go back to cruise. Any question on the power on stall? Alright, my airplane.
Your airplane?
My airplane. Now, the power on stall scares a lot of students because they're not listening to their instructors and they're forgetting their 4 left turning tendencies.
Yep.
And they don't put the right rudder in.
Uh-huh.
Because most of the time, everybody forgets, even on landing, on takeoff, right?
Did I put the right rudder?
Yes, you did. You did very well. But I'm going to show you what happens when you don't put the right rudder in.
Are you going to spin?
You're not going to spin because I'm not let the plane spin because it's not an aerobatic airplane. But we're going to do an incipient spin.
Okay.
That means the wings are just going to drop because we're not... you asked before when you're uncoordinated, right? We're not going to be coordinated because of that left turning tendencies. One wing is going faster than the others. There's a difference in lift and in drag. Therefore, one will fly and the other one will just stall.
Okay.
And it will just really lower the left wing. And that's without putting any rudder. Now, if you put too much rudder, the opposite will happen. You'll drop the right wing.
Okay.
So that's how it goes. You ready?
Yep.
Let's make sure no one's below us. Looks good?
Yep.
Alright, I'm slowing down. Here we are. Everything's good. Trade speed for altitude to make it happen a little bit faster. And this is why it's so important to put the right rudder when you do a power on stall. Here we go. Ready? Pitch, power. You see the plane going left?
Jesus, how do you stall so?
No rudder, right?
Yeah.
Look at this. And this is what's happening.
Uh-huh.
And then at the end of the day, you receive yourself nose down, turning like this.
Uh-huh.
And look at your speed. And then you're a student pilot. What do you do at this point? You panic, right?
Yeah.
That's why
my goodness.
you want to put right rudder and keep the coordinated flight. Okay, I'm going to get out of the sun so it doesn't blind us. But that's the point of it, okay? If you put too much rudder, the opposite will happen. Now, it's not to scare you.
Yeah.
It's to teach you what happens when you don't put rudder. And we're going to have to teach you how to get out of it if you get in. And generally, these planes are pretty stable, that if you let everything go, you will recover from the stall. The only thing you need to do is just roll out the wings and bring the nose back up and reduce the power. That's all you have to do. Once you're back to the horizon, you readjust the power and the plane will fly again.
Okay.
You want to try?
Ooh,
Try a power on stall. Your airplane.
my airplane.
Your airplane. Do a power on stall.
Do we want to be at 4,000 or no?
We can be here, that's fine.
Traffic Turkey 657, turn in right base, 32, Montgomery.
So we want to be down to 75, right?
About, yeah. So trade speed for altitude, don't descend. Because we're going to get an altitude with a stall, right? I'm going to have to go back after this.
Okay. And then...
No, pitch up to lose more airspeed. Pitch up first, and then add power. Pitch up first, then add power. Very good. All right, now I want you to do a normal stall. All right? But if you don't put enough rudder, you'll get that little wing dip. The only thing is lower the nose, all right, and then roll out if that happens. Keep it going, keep it going. There you go, that's a full developed stall. So recover, lower the nose, below the horizon till you see the horizon. That's it, a little bit below the horizon, you don't have to dive down.
Okay.
Then once you start airspeed increasing, bring back to the horizon, start flying again.
Okay.
All right? And you saw we started going to the left because you did have a right rudder. We didn't go all the way to the left, right? So that was a good job.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any question on the power off and power on stall?
No.
Don't worry, we're going to work on them much more.
Trying to mess with my trim.
We're going to work on them much more, okay? And it's going to come in, but the procedure is to know how to recover from a stall. And what's the only thing that allows us to break a stall?
Is reducing the angle of attack.
Very good. And how do you do that in those scenarios?
Pitch down?
You pitch down, right? Power won't do anything. You saw we had full power and we're stalling. So you can't outpower this thing. It's not a jet. It's not a fighter jet. And it's not a aerobatic airplane which they have a crazy amount of horsepowers in them. All right, let's go back to Manassas. Turn left. We're over Culpeper.
And November 209er, traffic is now 200 feet, 100 feet below you, 12 o'clock, 5 miles.
We're keeping our eyes open for 1209.
There 8 Mike Alpha traffic, 12 o'clock and 4 miles, same altitude at 2,000 Cherokee.
Copy, I'll rise, 8 Mike Alpha.
Yeah, 8 Mike Alpha, I advise you climb at least 500 feet.
For 1209, we're descending. We're going to 1,500.
He is at the same altitude. I'll let you know when he starts up.
looking pro, Sky.
And that's why you also want to talk to the controller, because it's really hard to see an airplane with a very dark background. I mean, the woods plus the shade of the clouds plus a tiny airplane like this, it's really hard to see. I see him on my radar here, so he's really at 12 o'clock. We're really going one to each other, but he's climbing, we're descending. Stay at 1,500 feet. Keep your eyes open. Here he is, 1 o'clock, high in the sky. Over there. So you can stop descending, maintain 1,500 feet.
What approach would you like next?
You see their little dot there coming towards us?
3984, and actually we'd just like to do a couple of turns.
Stop descending.
At the pitch approach hold.
You see him?
Then we'll let you know it's going to be yours 122.
1 o'clock.
Temperature 122, proceed.
He's getting closer.
I don't.
Right. He's a bit above.
41209er traffic, no factories passing 1,000 feet overhead. Remain on that code till you land. Frequency changes approved.
Free change approved. We have the traffic in sight, and we'll remain on the code until we land for 129. Have a great night.
Number 8, Mike Alpha.
See him now?
Yep, I see him.
Very good. Fuel pump on. And now we want 65 knots, hand on the power. Once the flaps are there, you don't need to touch the handle anymore. And radio call. Manassas traffic, Archer 41209, final 16 right.
Manassas traffic, Archer 41209, final 16 right.
Very good. Now you want to be on the center line, so a little bit to the left of it, and to the right. There you go. You're tracking for 65 knots. And don't try and squeeze this plastic. No one has managed until today. You're not going to be the first one, okay? So relax your hand. Take your hand off the yoke, see where your trim's at. Very good. And now it's a judgment on how fast you're sinking or not. I would say per experience, you need a little bit more power. Like just,
a little bit more power?
Yeah. To kind of control the sink rate, right?
Yeah. Why are we kind of like tilted off to the...
Because the wind is pushing you away. See the windsock, how the wind's coming from the right? It's called a crosswind. So the wind is continuously pushing you to the right, so you need to point your nose towards the tower. So you kind of stop crabbing to the left. So you're going to crab into the wind. Right? Keep coming to the numbers. You want to really aim to the numbers, right? And I'm coming with you on the controls. Keep coming down. Runway is made, power to idle. Now you're going to transition to a straight and level flight. No, straight and level. Very good, straight and level flight. You don't want to pitch up. You want to pitch up a little bit once the plane starts to sink, okay? It's really hard to feel where it is, but the transition from final to floating over the runway for a second until we learn the picture, if you pitch up too much, that is the power off stall, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to pitch too much because then you're going to lose all your lift. You want to really be straight and level, fly over the runway, and when the plane starts to sink gently, that's when you pitch up like 3 degrees.
Okay.
Like very slightly.
Yeah.
And that's it. So exit the runway on Alpha, on the right there. And then we'll clean the plane and taxi back to the ramp. And once you're clear of the runway, which means the tail of the plane is past those 4 lines, you can say Manassas traffic, November 41209 is clear of runway 16 right.
Okay.
Taxiing to the ramp via Alpha.
Okay.
That's it. Alright, so give the call first.
Manassas traffic, Archer 41209 is clear of runway 16 right.
Very good.